The attempt to end my husband's life was a horrible, distressing experience. Now, the silence around it feels heavy. I can't help but wonder, why didn't law enforcement officials arrest the shooter before the speech? There is definitely more to this story, and we need to uncover the truth.
Don Lemon, yeah. He throwing jabs at 47 wife because she made a speech on his attempted murder. And he doing like this here, rolling his eyes like he can't believe, what she's saying and everything, man. But you know something? Hey, Don, you don't have no job. And you jumped on 47 wife? Hell, you ain't got no wife. Entertainment purposes only. So, man, if you're going to pick on somebody, man, go pick on a dude, man. Why are you picking on her? She ain't do nothing to you. Hell, she probably know your ass. You can't find no other stories. Now, I saw he was interviewing people. It was sad. He was interviewing people, and people were saying that they voting for Trump. Oh, I'm sorry. Voting for Trump. He asking them why. He arguing with them about who they gonna vote for. I mean, that's all you could do now. Yeah, well, Don Lemons, you get the fuck you award.
All right, guys, so we got to talk about dummy Don Lemon, who really stepped in it this time because his Trump derangement led him to post a TikTok of himself mocking Melania Trump as she posts a video asking questions and demanding answers about the failed assassination attempt of her husband, former President Trump. Something that is not a laughing matter, is not something to be mocked. Okay, you have a wife mourning her husband almost being killed, and Don Lemon thought that for whatever reason, it would be okay for him to mock Melania Trump. Now, I get that you hate Trump, right? Maybe, just maybe, Don Lemon is one of these people, like a lot of the Trump deranged individuals in the mainstream level media, specifically MSNBC, that believes that the assassination was an inside job, right? This is what they low-key believe. This is what they low-key want to say, okay? They don't believe that Trump actually got shot, which, in my opinion, is the only thing that would lead somebody like Don Lemon to think that it would be a good idea to record this and then to post it on the internet, right? Maybe he thought that, well, all of my friends don't think that Trump actually almost got assassinated, right? So I think that this is a good idea for me to mock Melania Trump. Turns out it wasn't a great idea, okay, as he got roasted, okay, absolutely toasted for mocking Melania Trump, demanding answers for the failed assassination attempt on President Trump.
Okay, thanks. A gruesome shtick from a callous prick. Don Lemon rolls his eyes watching Melania agonize. Our video of the day comes to us from the destitute douchebag known as Don Lemon, who mocked a recent post from former First Lady Melania Trump demanding answers to her husband's assassination attempt.
The attempt to end my husband's life was a horrible, distressing experience. Now, the silence around it feels heavy. I can't help but wonder, why didn't law enforcement officials arrest the shooter before the speech? There is definitely more to this story, and we need to uncover the truth.
Does he always look at women that way? Obviously not much empathy shown from Don Lemon, which makes sense for him, because if anyone around him ever gets shot in the head, I guarantee you it's self-inflicted. Kaylee, do you imagine, I know this is such an easy question, but if a Republican mocked Jill Biden after Joe was nearly assassinated, say by a set of stairs,
Yeah. I mean, that person would lose their job. But oh, wait, Don Lemon already lost his job.
Yes.
So, he would have lost it a second time. Look, Don Lemon used to have, second to Gutfeld, the greatest comedy show on television. Yeah. It was called Don Lemon Tonight. It was intended to be serious. One of my favorite things to do would be to grab a glass of wine and laugh at that man. He'd take these long, dramatic pauses where he'd be like, are you okay? Is that man okay? Like, we need to do a wellness check. That's how crazy the show was. But he went from unintended satire to just being mean. I mean, who does that? And on his former network, a Clinton-era commentator, Maria Cardona, came out and in reaction to that video said she is irrelevant. Talk about empathy. They are lacking in empathy. That was purely mean-spirited. She learned in live, real time, during a rally, watching her husband, that he had been shot. And that's what they do. It's cruel.
Yeah, and this is why I don't believe these people when they want to talk about unity, right? These people are not trying to unify. They hate Trump supporters. They hate Trump. Again, a lot of these people, they were coping and seething over the bullet, not moving closer to Trump's head by an inch, right? They were upset about it, okay? That, or they were in complete denial, claiming that it was an inside job, that he staged it on himself, right? This is what, the type of conspiracies that they were putting out there. But the fact that Don Lemon decided that it would be a good idea to do this while at the same time calling himself a journalist is the main reason why a lot of these propagandists on the mainstream liberal media calling themselves journalists, it's just laughable, right? Because they are clearly showing you their bias, right? But they hide behind plausible deniability. They say, well, I'm not really biased just because it seems like I'm cheerleading for the Democrat Party. That's not true, right? I'm not actually a Democrat. I'm an independent, okay? I mean, and people like Don Lemon, like, they actually really believe this.
Do you think that you are more conservative in your politics than most people assume?
Yes, I do. But also, I listen to people who I don't agree with. I don't have to agree with you to find you interesting. And I say this all the time. I don't agree with my mom all the time. And she and my fiance are the two people I love most in the world, and my sister I love most in the world. And I don't agree with them all the time. My mom and I had a disagreement the other night. My sister and I had a disagreement the other night. But the next morning we were planning the next time we're going to see each other. So I don't, I can have an argument. And also, I think it's also a byproduct, if you will, of being in cable news, where you have these intense conversations with people and then you end up going to have a beer with them after the show.
Right.
So that is, so yes, I do think my politics are probably more centrist and even sometimes right, more right than people would assume.
Yeah, delusional. Absolutely delusional coming from Don Lemon. Okay, there's nothing centrist about Don Lemon. Don Lemon is a radical progressive. Okay, he is far left. Okay, but the point of my video is this. Don Lemon is more openly showing that, yes, I am a far leftist. I am super Trump deranged. I am very biased. I am pro-Democrat. He's openly rooting for Kamala. He's doing that now that he's independent, right? He's not under the umbrella of CNN, okay, in which, again, he pretends to be a journalist. But this is how he actually feels. So you can imagine that what we're seeing on cable news when we say that, hey, these anchors are biased. These ABC moderators are biased, right? They're biased in favor of Democrats because they are Democrats. They're all voting Democrat. We know they're voting Democrat. We're not crazy when we say that, right? Because when you take one of them off of CNN, right, all of a sudden they show you who they are, right? They're overt left-wing Democrat Party propagandists, which is exactly what Don Lemon is doing now, right? This is what he's doing. So just imagine how all of these other CNN anchors, MSNBC anchors, well, they don't pretend, right? They don't pretend like they're not voting Democrat, right? They don't even pretend to be journalists, so there's no need to even bring them up. But ABC, NBC, right? The ones that still kind of pretend. Again, just imagine their actual politics. They 100% vote Democrat. And if you don't think that their own personal political agenda and what they want to see, if you don't think that affects their coverage and how they convey information, how they fact check, okay, how they cover both sides, then you're a fool, right? You're a damn fool, okay? It's called the mainstream liberal media for a reason, because they're overtly liberal. And a lot of these people are hateful. They're hateful towards Trump. That's the crazy part. It's one thing for you to be, okay, I'm liberal in my politics, okay, but I don't have so much hate that I'm gonna let it interfere with my job, okay? But Don Lemon can't say that. You don't think that Don Lemon, when he was on CNN, his clear hate for Trump to the point where he's mocking his wife, okay, who's mourning over the failed assassination attempt on her husband, you don't think that hate carried over into his commentary on CNN? How he portrayed himself as a journalist, right? In which, you know, sometimes he still pretends that he's not, right? Like, you can't claim to be a journalist and you're putting out stuff like this. You're showing that you hate the other side of the political aisle. So I think that was kind of a mask off moment for Don Lemon, right? Because again, these people try to play as if they're neutral, they're calling down the middle, they're objective, when it's like, no, you're not any of that. You're biased as hell. You're overtly Democrat Party propagandist. And part of the reason why you're doing it is because you are Democrats. You're super liberal and you want them to win. So you're trying to tip the scales. You're using your platform. You're weaponizing your title as journalist to try to engineer an outcome that you want. When people talk about the elections being rigged, the reality is that most of the rigging is done through the media. Okay? It's done through the media. Just like we saw with the Hunter Biden laptop. Oh, it was Russian disinformation when that came out, right? Russian disinformation. And that was a story that could have potentially affected the outcome of the election. And they know that. So this is why they covered up and said it is Russian disinformation and you are a conspiracy theorist if you say otherwise. Even though the conspiracy theorists, aka people like Tucker Carlson, we were right. Okay, we were right about it. But Tucker was being smeared for covering the story, even though he was one of the only people at the time covering it. He was doing the interviews with Tony Bobolinsky while the media said, no, don't pay attention to that. It's not real. Okay, it's made up. It's just right-wing disinformation. Okay, these are the same people that lied during the pandemic, lied about the origins of the virus, lied about Russia, lied about Joe Biden's mental deterioration. But yet, these people never seem to get punished for it. And if they happen to get punished for having low ratings, okay, for nobody wanting to watch them, eventually they'll just be hired back, okay, and rewarded again for being an absolute failure, which is what happened to Brian Stelter, who's now back on CNN after a career of pushing lies.
What do folks in the reality-based media do in the coming weeks? Trump might have committed treason. You say the president is using mind control. What does Putin have on Trump? The U.S. president possibly working for the Russians. Is President Trump a racist? Is the Trump presidency a criminal presidency? There's no way to tweet yourself out of impeachment. Impeachment. What I hear on Fox is that the media is obsessed about impeachment. Impeachment. Entire media companies essentially exist to tear down Joe Biden. Dana Milbank, here's his column for the Post this weekend, and he says he has data to show that the press has turned more negative against Biden than the press was against Trump. What do you think about that? Trump and some of his allies are promoting a hate movement against the American press. Why does Sarah Sanders still have a job? Is it time for newsrooms to think of new ways to convey Trump's lack of credibility? You might say the media hasn't earned your trust either. Okay.
Happy Wednesday, everyone. Oh boy, Brian Stelter returning to CNN. The network also announced their office cafeteria will be open 24 hours a day. CNN claims that Stelter's hiring is a bold move to increase their workplace diversity by adding a potato. And who better to cover Joe Biden's last days than a vegetable? You know, Brian claimed that getting fired was the best thing that ever happened to him, even better than getting married, having kids, or when Wendy's created the Baconator.
It's a good sandwich.
Fun fact, after being fired, Stelter said he had moved to a horse farm. But now that he's finished eating, he's ready to return to work. CNN staffers expressed little pleasure in Stelter's return, but many were hopeful that this time around he gets his own bathroom. Stelter will once again publish a reliable sources newsletter, but also get his own streaming service, CNN Plus size.
Never over.
But CNN and Brian Stelter are a perfect match. One is a bloated, lying, irrelevant, disgusting, unwatchable mess. And the other is Brian Stelter. You could have gone either way. He reports that his job as chief media analyst requires him to sit and watch a ton of TV, which does play to his skill set of sitting. But But it is strange that CNN would rehire somebody 2 years after firing him for a job that anyone could do. Why Stelter? He had terrible ratings. No one liked him. He was wrong on every major story. Seriously, the only person who benefits from this is me.
But yet these people try to tell you, no. We're neutral. We'll just call it down the middle. Okay. The facts just happen to align with the Democrats. Okay. This is why we have to rig things in their favor, right? Because the facts are on their side. Well, if the facts are on their side, then why do you have to rig things in their favor, right? Why did ABC have to rig the debate against Trump if the facts are on the side of Democrats? Okay. You would think it would be an easy win for Kamala Harris if the facts were on the side of Democrats. But because the facts are not on their side, they have to distort reality. Okay, they have to do selective fact checks. They have to do all the things they're doing right now in order to try to rig the outcome of the election in favor of their preferred candidate, right? That's exactly what's happening. So, hey, like I said, Don Lemon putting this video out, kind of a mask off moment. I mean, we already knew he was super liberal, super progressive, Trump deranged, but this just confirms that he just has hate in his heart, right? And somebody that has this much hate in their heart, again, you cannot be an objective journalist. Like you are not going to give any objective commentary or any objective news reporting when you have this much hate in your heart for the other side of the political aisle. So, hey, let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.